Video 17, I posted earlier on think tanks after a phone call this morning with what I would call an action tank based in DC. Not going to get into the details of that, but it's always interesting to learn organizations, learn about them that have been doing work for 20 years with major influential centers like DC or Hollywood or LA or whatever. And you learn that there's just more going on than ever is in the public sector or talked about publicly. Adds layers and layers to our understanding about how things work, who's doing the work, why they're doing the work. And think tanks, it's funny, I really only discovered the formality of the term think tank maybe 4 years ago. And think tanks have been a thing for a long time. You can see on the post that I put up earlier, they approximate 11,000 think tanks in operation worldwide. Washington, D.C. as being one of the epicenters of think tanks. Council of Foreign Relations, think tank. Trilateral Commission, think tank. I've got JSOC buddies that the Department of Defense sent to places like the Aspen Institute to learn about strategy and to learn about process discovery, I guess you could say. And so, it's interesting that even the World Economic Forum is a form of a think tank, but really I would probably call it more of an action tank, because Davos brings in the economic leaders of the world annually. And while it is a think tank, it's an idea sharing, I'm sure idea capturing, I'm sure idea considering environment. But really the core mission there is to share and then deploy the deliverables for the year ahead, possibly up to the next 3 years. Again, rabbit holes to go down. But when you look at the think tanks that are out there, many of them are reflections of institutions. They are university endeavors to incentivize masters and PhD students to have places to take institutional learning, institutional matrix thinking of how do you do research, how do you do thesis projects, and take problem sets, take working models that exist out there, explore the frameworks, and if you can monetize that to where an institution like a university can then go to their graduates that end up in corporations or in government centers, they now are able to give those former students, alumni, opportunities to come back to the university, bring money back to the university, put the university to work to contribute to thinking about problems in the world, present solution sets. It becomes a very circular way of creating ideas, creating perspectives on ideas, and then potentially generate income streams for learning centers, shape the minds in those learning centers about how the world works, let those learning centers deploy ideas into corporations and into government policy to see how ideas can be implemented and deployed to shape society. I mean, these are all surface level kind of observations and just data points, but the fact that people don't really give too much thought about what a think tank is. Most people, like myself, here I am working in innovation for 20 plus years at the sharp points, and someone in Europe who is a colleague and a kind of a counterpart on something brought the idea to my attention about think tanks. and it sent me into a discovery process of understanding who are the think tanks, what is the purpose of the think tanks. And in many ways, what I discovered is my purpose and the way I operate and the collaborations that I bring together, which make me an intersection for best in class and centers of excellence, which we've talked about in other videos. I follow a think tank type of model. And so, but think tanks have been around for a long time. It's not a new idea, but it's just something that I think the people that have the most influence in the world don't really want to make their think tanks targets. It becomes a private and I don't mean private public entity. I mean private as in discrete way of taking ideas out of their organization or problems, handing them off to a group. If you've ever heard of things like the JSOC Society or groups that have been around for a long time that are brain trusts on a variety of world-shaping topics. They become trusted assets for governments, for dynasties, families, royalty, governments. And so it's probably worth your time to look into the think tank idea. If you're a creative, if you're a problem solver, if you're an organizational leader, everyone builds their own form of a think tank within their organization. Could be an open innovation team. It could be just a straight up innovation team. Nike has a variety of over the horizon exploration teams on creative design, strategy, brand. So everyone's doing it, but these dedicated groups out there, even Bill Gates has his own intellectual ventures, which Nathan Myhrvold, I believe his name is, he holds the most patents currently on the earth today for someone alive. Genius guy. And so looking into intellectual ventures and understanding how they operate and understanding one of my mentors, Dr. Gregory, who I've mentioned here before, who's just probably one of the smartest humans on the earth. He took a role as Bill Gates' chief advisor on basically science and medicine for a number of years, a few years, kind of a fellow role. And so the conversations we would just have on a structural level when I was advising Kanye. Very insightful, interesting how overlaps occur, similar challenges in the two environments, for example, about getting things through a framework of personalities and personal agendas, and then the organizational agenda. All of these things are complicated, but I guess what I'm sharing here is think tanks may be some of the most influential centers of decision influencing process centers on the planet. And if you don't know much about think tanks and you're a problem solver, you're a leader, I would encourage you to get smart about think tanks and understand how they work, understand how the best ones work, understand why they exist, understand how they're used, understand how they may be affecting your entire market share, your arena of research or development. Just get smart on them, and you can never learn enough. Just keep learning out there. So have a great day. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and appreciate your time. Thanks for the support, encouragement, feedback, conversations. I appreciate all of it. So God bless you guys. I'll talk to you soon.